Hey guys, welcome to today's video, and we are in a new background. Please excuse the background noise. Hey guys, welcome to my channel once again. In today's video, I will be talking about my travels from New York to Accra. This video is mainly meant for people who are curious or people who are also planning their trips to Accra and they're looking for tips or they're looking for someone who has been through it before. So yeah, if you're planning a trip to Accra, whether you have friends here who are willing to host you or help you out, or you have family here, or you're going with a trusted travel agency that's going to plan everything and make sure you're safe, I personally wouldn't recommend anyone to do this trip right off the bat by themselves. But if you're that type of person, go ahead. But just to warn you, there might be some times where you pay absolutely way more than you would, or things are just going to be messy at some point. I will be talking about how I prepped for my trip and everything that I did before my flight at JFK. The first step to prepping for your trip is obviously getting a visa if you're not a citizen or if you're not an ECOWAS passport holder. The first thing obviously is to get a visa. Make sure you check and see if the country you're coming from requires a visa or whatever the case may be, but do that. I will put the link to the Ghanaian mission in the description. The second thing to do is obviously buying your flight ticket. I personally bought my tickets in July, even when I was not sure that I was going to travel. I bought my ticket at that time because Delta had this thing where you can change your flight for free. So I took advantage of that and bought my ticket then, and the prices were very good at that time. I got a Delta one, which is a first class ticket, for $2,500, $2,500. So that was a very good price. And I don't necessarily remember how much the main cabin and the other tickets were, but that was a very good time to buy the ticket because it was like a while away from the actual flight. So the ticket prices at that time were good. When it goes closer, anytime from even September, October, November, the tickets shoot up so high. That is definitely not really the good time to purchase it if you're trying to stay within a budget. But then, you know, we never really know. I had to change my Delta One tickets to a Comfort Plus because I received my work start date and it was definitely not what I planned for. So I had to change dates and switch things around to go for a Comfort Plus ticket, which was like $1,700 something. But the good news is that I got my Delta credits, so another flight is going to be in the mix. Third point is accommodation. Obviously, if you already have family here, accommodation is not a problem for you. If you're using a travel agency, then a travel agency will take care of that, obviously. But there are Airbnbs, hotels, multiple options for places to stay in Accra and outside Accra. The health declaration form is basically you filling out a form saying that you're not sick, you don't have a fever or a cold and whatever. It's a pretty straightforward, easy form. I'm going to put the link to it down in the description so you can access it if you need it. Next thing is to pay for your $50 or $150 COVID test, which will be done at the airport in Accra. So this is $50 for people who are ECOWAS passport holders, and then $150 for every other person who is a non-citizen or non-ECOWAS person. You pay $150. You can pay with your credit card. Yeah, I paid with my credit card. So I will put the link to that also below in the description so you can use that if you need to. Make sure you do that before you get to the airport because you need the receipt for the payment in order to check in. So make sure you do it. Have cash with you because when you get to Accra or the place in Ghana that you're going to, most of your transactions will be in cash. So it's good for you to take cash along and then convert it to Ghana cedis when you get here. Most advisable option is to have $100 bills. So when you go to the Forex Bureau to have it changed, you get a much better rate. If you go with like smaller bills like 20s and whatnot, you will not get a good rate. Now, one of the most important things to do before your flight is to get a COVID test before you get to JFK. COVID test should be 72 hours before your flight, but if you don't plan properly, it can be a hit or miss. Now personally, I went to the Jamaica hospital. They have like trailers outside where they do COVID tests for free. They don't ask for insurance or anything. Just make sure to go with your state ID, and then you create a MyChat account. They put you in the system at the first trailer, and then you move to the next trailer where you actually get tested. Now they always let you know that the results will be available within 24 to 48 hours, but please make sure that you have at least 48 hours, because anything can happen. There could be a delay, and that 24 hours would not take. I almost put myself in that situation, but mine took 30 hours to come by. But honestly, after the 24th or 25th hour, I was getting nervous because I thought the test wasn't going to come through. So make sure you have at least 48 hours before, so you give yourself enough time to not feel anxious. The other option to that is to do the test at the airport. Terminal 1 at JFK has the Adams Testing Center or something of that sort, but they charge you $220 to do your test, and it takes 1 hour. That is really for people who are like in a very tight position, emergency, things happen, things didn't go as planned, and now you need a COVID test. Then do that, but that costs $220, so that's definitely a lot coming out of your pocket, money that you could definitely use within your vacation. So I would say plan adequately and do it at a free place. Also other places within Queens and other boroughs where you can do it with your health insurance card for free. I will make sure to do a little more research on that and put some links below, so you can also explore those options in places where you can do your COVID tests. In the spirit of talking about vaccines, I would also advise you to get your yellow fever vaccine if you've never had one, or if you've had one, look for the card. It's really a hit or miss. There's never really a definitely they will ask or definitely they will not ask. I feel like it depends. Personally, I wasn't asked, but there are other people who were also on ECOWAS passports who were asked. There are people who were citizens of the United States or other countries who were not asked, and there were people who were also asked. So I feel like that is, you can't predict. So the safer option is to have your yellow fever vaccine card with you. The next thing I wanted to touch on is luggage wrapping. I decided to wrap my luggages because in addition to the wrapping, it also has some insurance around it. I'll put the link down there so you can read the literature, but it also makes sure that your luggages stay in place, and there is a much lower chance that people would steal from your luggage, because it's going to be a lot of work taking off that wrap and before tearing it open. I also had a hardcover suitcase, so that would definitely be a lot of work to get it done, but most people say that a box cutter can cut your suitcase if it's like leather or fabric. Just make sure your suitcase is secure. You can also buy insurance for your suitcases or for your luggages, so in case anything happens, it's insured and you can get some compensation for it. But the secure wrap costs $36, and there was a little bit of a line, but it wasn't that bad. I got to the airport at around 8 something, almost 9 p.m. and my flight was 11:55, and I still made it out. I got to my gate before 11, so definitely it's not too bad. Also, in case you decide to go with the secure wrap, they are located, I went through Terminal 4, so they are located in Terminal 4, just right across the Caribbean Airlines table. You would see them right there. You should have already done this before you left your house, but make sure your suitcases are not over 50 pounds. That is the weight. Some people are able to get away with going a little bit above, but the safest option is to stay under 50 pounds. One thing that I also didn't know about was that there was actually a size limit for your suitcase. So when you measure the height, the width, and the length, it shouldn't be more than 62. I could be lying, but I'll put the dimensions in the description so you can find that too. But I didn't know about that. But usually most bags, most luggages that are like within or a little bit above would get away with it. But if your items look obviously big, then they'll obviously say something and charge you. But at the same time, also check your airlines and make sure you're reading all the rules and make sure you're abiding by the rules. to avoid charges and delays or anything, damages or anything like that. Make sure you're Gucci. So when you get to the check-in table, 3 things will be asked of you: your passport, obviously, your negative COVID test, and the COVID payment receipt. I didn't print mine out, but it was good. But best practice is to print it out so you can have all the papers, and you're going to give it to them one after the other, not all at once. Now, after you do that, if you have people standing around waiting for you to get them, that you say goodbye to them or whatever. There was no one waiting for me. They just dropped me off and then they went away. So after I did that, I just went over to TSA and then walked over to my gate and went in to prepare for my flight. Now, the funny thing that happened was that my flight was actually overbooked. So Delta was offering money, gift card actually, for people to take the next flight. They started off at $800 and people were like, yeah, they're not gonna take that. And they went up to $2,000 in American Express gift card or whatever gift card that was preferred. And I was like, mind busting. But that's definitely a good opportunity for if you're flexible with your time, or if you're open to take a flexible flight. That meant having to wait like a whole 24 hours, and I didn't do that. I just thought of it as I never got this offer. So, but there are some people who went for it. I think there were these 2 ladies who were from DC who went for the offer. I think they also got a hotel booked for them. I'm not so sure, but there are people who went for the offer. And so if you have that opportunity and you're flexible, that might come your way and you should do that. Next video, I'll cover everything that happened once I arrived at the airport in Accra and everything that I went through before I got out of those doors. So stay tuned for that next video too. Thank you guys so much for sticking with this video. It's hot. Thank you guys for sticking with me. I'll see you next video.